Hi, and welcome to Certification Exam Rapid Training. This is for Exam AZ 204, Developing Solutions for Microsoft Azure. My name is Brian Swiger. I am a Cloud Solution Architect in Microsoft Retail based in Tampa, Florida. So to get started, we're going to look at the various exam topics. We're going to do this with 10 to 12-minute videos. We're going to start with this exam overview, which is this first video that you're watching here, diving into the various exam topics and look at some resources and call to action as well. So starting out, I'm hoping that you can exhibit competence in understanding how to study and pass this exam and demonstrate that confidence in your ability to take and pass the exam. Really want you to be able to understand where to focus in terms of your study to take and pass, of course, this exam. So really quick, an exam overview. We're looking at 5 different sections. So we'll have 5 different 10 to 12-minute videos on these various sections. And the sections include developing Azure compute solutions. So we'll look at all the different compute options that we have. The storage options. So we'll look at different Azure storage, such as Cosmos DB, large section there. And then implementing Azure security. So we're going to look at user authentication, authorization, and many areas included in security. And then monitoring, troubleshooting, and optimizing solutions. And then finally connecting to and consuming Azure services and third-party services. So really understanding from a developer's point of view, all of these different topics. And of course, completing this exam will get you the Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate certification. And you can see more in the lower left there. There's a few links in terms of Microsoft Learn and the role-based certifications and more information about the certification process. If you're interested in a course, there is a course that's offered. If you know an MCT, a Microsoft Certified Trainer, or someone to engage, maybe a partner. We have a learning partner link highlighted in the lower left, but there is a course that is a 5-day course that deep dives on all of these various topics and has labs and all kinds of hands-on capability with a live instructor. Speaking of labs, we've actually introduced performance-based testing. You may have taken an exam already where you've seen that you actually are presented with the portal. You actually can create various resources and get tasked with completing resource allocation or certain environment level scenarios. So these are real world scenarios, and you have, of course, you are timed across various tasks. You may have 1 or 2 different labs with a few tasks associated with each lab. And of course, those tasks will be detailed and discuss essentially how to do or what you are supposed to do inside of the portal to accomplish that. So the key to the performance-based testing, do know that, of course, provisioning in Azure does take a little bit of time. So you're going to want to maybe open a separate tab and complete the next task. So don't really wait for the previous task or the provisioning to complete. If you've already, say, deployed a VM, for instance, with all of the various configuration, just move on and open up another tab and complete the next task. So do save yourself some time if the exam does have hands-on labs associated with it. So again, I was focusing in on the exam candidate. So the focus of the candidate for this particular exam is the developer role. So this is someone that has written code. It doesn't really matter what language. The exams are not language specific, but they really are focused in on code and implementation of the various services. So take that in mind as you're taking this test and studying for this test. Ask yourself, what would a developer do in this scenario? That's the concern. So we shouldn't see any architecture, high-level type questions. We shouldn't see any deep, data type questions. Those would be on different exams. So take it from a developer's point of view and focus in on the developer aspect, including the SDKs, and considering the usage of the various services, connectors, APIs, authentication, authorization, etc. So concerning this exam, again, this exam is focused from the development point of view. You'll see 5 different sections across this exam. You'll see the percentages on the right-hand side. The percentages are the percent of the questions that will be on the exam. So for instance, the very first category here, developing Azure Compute Solutions. This makes up a quarter or more of the exam. So 25 to 30% of the exam is focused here in terms of your questions and your question pool. So do know that if you want to focus your time, you could actually use this as a distribution of where the majority of the questions will be pulled from and generated for your particular test. So if I were to focus right out of the gate, I can see the very top topic, developing Azure Compute Solutions, and the very bottom topic, connecting to and consuming Azure services and third-party services. I'd want to focus there. That's could be half or over half of the exam if I'm targeting my learning. So the other areas, again, we're looking at different percentages. Those percentages are what's going to drive your particular exam. So the test engine is going to go and determine between 25 and 30% of the questions, they're going to come out of the compute, so developing Azure Compute Solutions category and drive your particular exam creation. So I do want to note, a lot of folks also ask at the beginning of the exam, you will get a survey. Does that survey actually drive the categorization? Am I going to get more difficult questions if I answer that I'm an expert in some of these areas? No. So that survey is there just for generalized survey purposes to understand the candidates. It has nothing to do with developing the exam or bringing up your exam in terms of the exam engine and the percentages that you're presented here. So the other focus is only study these categories. Don't stray from these categories, and don't stray from what I'm going to show you inside of each of these different categories. So you want to stay focused on these key areas. So that's it for the first session. This kind of gives you a quick overview of what's on the exam and where we're going to dive. So the next video, we're actually going to dive into developing Azure Compute Solutions. Again, that's 25 to 30% of the exam, and hope to see you then.